Good afternoon to everyone who is interested in this presentation. My name is Eric Esterbauer and I am delighted to be here today to present to you a current research project which is implemented at the Mozarteum University Salzburg in Austria. The department of the university I am working at is the so-called OFF Institute, an education and training facility for elemental music and dance pedagogy. At the OFF Institute, we have a long tradition of music and dance education, as well as performance in inclusion and diversity. Besides a study focus in these areas, we do provide numerous practice teaching groups in inclusive contexts. Today, I want to give you some insights in our way of doing elemental music and dance for inclusive mixed-abled settings. This presentation is rather a report than a completed scientific study, so please do not expect a conclusive methodological description nor an in-depth discussion of results. These may follow the next time we meet, perhaps in Finland. First of all, I will give you a short overview of this presentation. First, we have to find out if we are talking about the same issues. So some definitions have to be done. Next, I will refer to some didactic ideas grounded on the topics mentioned above before. A core concept is mixed-abled settings is the treatment of the heterogeneous aspects of sensory and motoric possibilities, the musical and relational abilities of all of the participants. To illustrate the main thoughts of this presentation, I will show you some short videos before drawing conclusions. Speaking from the position of an inclusive educator and from an experience of many groups I have worked with in the past, as well as in my current mixed-abled groups of adults with additional support needs, we expect the adults or the children that attend our lessons to interact with the subject, the game, the song, or the movements, words, or activities that we are offering. In all groups I have worked, inclusive or specialized or focused, the heterogeneous differences are the main topic one has to deal with. But first of all, some definitions. To talk about inclusion and my understanding of this idea, I want to refer to the Swiss pedagogue Georg Feuser, who created the following definition, originally in the 1990s, continuously adapted and last time adapted in 2018. Georg Feuser says, inclusive pedagogy means that all persons, people, participants, that all people, without excluding anyone due to the type of severity of the disability, work, play, and learn together in cooperation with each other within one theme, activity, or task, according to their own individual capabilities, are they physical, emotional, mental, social, and so on, at their respective developmental levels and oriented on their zone of proximal development. Feuser speaks of two essential aspects in inclusive education that have to be kept in mind. The one is the cooperation within one theme, activity or task, and the inner differentiation. Cooperation means that people work, play, and learn together, that nobody is excluded, and that the subject task or theme is made available to everyone. Inner differentiation means that each person have contact with the subject, theme, or task at his or her level of possibilities. Furthermore, the needs, motives, interests of each person should be addressed, which offers opportunities for active participation. A further definition we need is about mixed-abled ensembles. This term is gradually gaining acceptance as a more appropriate replacement for such terms as handicapped, disabled, or mentally retarded. The term mixed ability does not have any connotations associated with it, allowing a person with a disability to be referred to without judgment or even insult. It might be the case that this term is more common used in German-speaking countries than in other countries. Mixed ability also refers to an educational movement in which children and also adults of different physical, mental, learning, and even language abilities are placed together in a classroom or a group context. Frequently used is the term in the field of dance education and performance, where the founder of the danceability system, Alito Alessi, has defined it as mixed abilities group, so to say, people with and without physical or mental disabilities. Activities such as making music and singing together, imitating and learning rhythms, melodies, or accompaniments, but also movements and dance are not always possible in the same way, and so we have to find out how to deal with these heterogeneous aspects in mixed-abled groups. The last definition we have to talk about is the one of elemental music. Best known is the description Carl Orff has given us in 1964. There he says, elemental music is never music alone, but forms a unity with movement, dance, and speech. It is music that one makes himself, and which one takes part not as a listener, but as a participant. It is unsophisticated, uses no big forms or grand structures. Instead, it consists of small series forms, ostinators, and small rounder forms. Elemental music is near the earth, natural, physical, within the range of everyone to learn it and to experience it, and suitable for the child. Shirley Selman summarizes the ideas within the development of Orff Schulwerk as follows. Elemental music and dance is a concept of active and creative music and dance practice for everybody. Wilhelm Keller quotes it as the realization of an original central musical potency anchored in each individual. It is independently from any determined age or from special talents or disabilities. And it describes the musical interactivity of persons with their individual capabilities. It is well suited in the case of difficulties in perception, experience, or contact, and of no or little ability to play. According to the Austrian composer and pedagogue Wilhelm Keller, one of the pioneers of inclusive music making, there are as many educational and learning goals as we have group members. A quotation often mentioned by Keller is, "Everyone plays as good as can be done." The objective in those inclusive or mixed able groups are the socialization of all the group members together, the development and promotion of productive and reproductive musicality according to the individual possibilities of each participant. The orientation thereby is not based on the work of art that is to be created, but on the potential and real needs and wishes of the participants. A further goal lies in the temporary lifting of the disability, in which the disabled person is accepted and recognized as a full game partner. This is achieved through appropriate tasks and roles. Keller says furthermore that elemental music and dance enable so-called normal, talented, and disabled people to play together in one group without any participant being under or over-challenged. The music and dance should be adapted so that tasks and roles suit the possibilities of the individual instead of the group having to adapt to a fixed musical form. If we consider now inclusive music making with mixed abled groups, the following aspects need our attention. The orientation on competences and resources. This might be one of the core ideas in all educational contexts, not only in inclusive contexts. The didactic reduction and also an elementarization, which could be a result of inner differentiation we already spoke about with Feuser. Again, a cooperative activity, a shared curriculum, a joint theme or task, and the possibility to create authorship are ingredients that are important. And last but not least, we can rely on elemental aspects of making music in inclusive contexts. And a further step, we should keep in mind that there are preconditions of inclusive music making. These refer to the diversity of the group concerning sensory and motor skills, musical abilities, or the quality of relationship, or in other words, the relational possibilities of each of the participants. These components can be directly addressed and promoted in elemental music and dance activities. By means of individualized tasks for each participant, differing in the levels of perhaps complexity, accuracy, structure, intensity, and so on, in different forms of cooperation and assistance, every learner can be and should be a contributor to the artistic process. One of the crucial parts in planning inclusive lessons is the diversity of the participants and their ability of joint attention. Without the capacity of joint attention, success in many pedagogical contexts would be difficult to achieve. If joint attention is underdeveloped or not present in a child or an adult, conventional pedagogical approaches like come and look, join in our activity, they are not successful. Tasks such as playing music together, call and response singing, taking over rhythms or melodies, imitation and thematic development can only be carried out on the basis of a developed joint attention. However, many teaching and learning processes are based on these interaction forms or even presuppose them. So we have to keep this in mind when we plan inclusive mixed abled lessons. And now let's move on to some practical examples. In the so-called Lebenshilfe group, adults with additional support needs from 3 sheltered workshops attend weekly music and movement sessions together with care persons for the participants from the sheltered workshops, which are normally community service providers, and a third group of participants, which are bachelor, master, or postgraduate students at the Orff Institute. The participants show very diverse abilities in music making and dancing. The main idea of this Lebenshilfe group is to create experiential spaces and activities for personal expression and for the development of individual skills in music and movement. Increasing social learning processes, interaction, participation, and the support of diverse forms of communication is an additional aim. A further goal lies in enhancing the didactic knowledge and the pedagogical and practical competences of the students in those inclusive and mixed-abled settings. In the first video of about 1 minute length, we see a partner exercise in creating diverse sounds of raindrops on sound shapes. Every participant is listened to and given the role of an equal contributor. The second video, lasting about 2 minutes, shows us the interactive possibilities grounded on joint attention and dialogical interplay. The role of guidance and following is interchanging continuously. Last video of about 1.5 minute length, we see the teacher adapting to the participants' form of playing. The diversity of the participant in concentration and consciousness of playing, as well as the inner motivation why they are playing together, is observable and leads to a special form of accompaniment. Those video recorded examples show the diverse levels in sensory, motor, and musical skills, and in the possibilities of social interaction and relationship. The significance of nonverbal teaching strategies, the assessment of possibilities to relate, and the development of individual forms of communication through music and movement can be demonstrated through microanalysis and video sequences. Conclusions drawn from the analysis and additional group reflections expand the teaching skills of the students and help in developing a flexible, spontaneous and diversity-centered approach for working pedagogically in inclusive contexts with music and dance. Considering now all that we have spoken of here, the starting point of inclusive music making should be an appropriate assessment and analysis of the diverse possibility of each participant. The analysis of video examples shows the diverse levels in sensory, motor, and musical skills as well as quality of relationship. Inclusive learning in mixed-able groups and ensembles depends on the appropriate assessment of these diverse abilities and resources of each participant. In the end, this should lead to individualized tasks for every individual and the possibility for everyone to participate and engage in activities in music and dance. So, with those references, I thank you for your attention and looking forward to the question and answer session on Friday, the 15th of July at 4:30 p.m. on Central European Summer Time. Please look at your schedule to find out which time zone this Q&A session is suited to your country. Thanks for listening and see you at the Q&A session.